mentioned previously, there are various types of layouts that we can use in an Android project. And the term layout has several different meanings within Android app development. We can talk about layouts as being a file, which is an XML file. So we refer to that file as a layout file. And that layout file contains a widget of a layout. We've been using constraint layouts, and that provides the structure for our user interface with all the other views and widgets being placed within that constraint layout. But we can also have layouts inside a layout. So it's more than just a structure for our page. It can also be a structure for a section of the page. In our palette, we have a layout area, and we have constraint layouts, and there's linear layouts, both horizontal and vertical. There's frame layouts, table layouts, and we have table rows, which will be part of that table layout. And then within the widgets and the containers, we have things like the tab layout. But again, we're going to talk about card views here and scroll views, and those in essence are layouts. So we've been using constraint layouts where each of the objects we specify a location for the objects and then some offsets in terms of distances between objects to get them placed where we want them, and those distances can be modified for the different types of devices. And constraint layouts are probably the most powerful layout. So here's a familiar app that we've seen before where we have 3 buttons that change the text of a text view, but these are all constrained within the constraint layout vertically and horizontally and to each other. You can take that same project and do it in a linear layout. And in a linear layout, we're simply specifying things like in a list. And so you might think of this as being rows, and on each row we can put an item. So here we still have our buttons that would work and change the text that's displayed at the top of that list, but we can change padding and margin of the items and still get to look almost identical to what we had in the constraint layout. Now here we have a vertical linear layout, but even within the vertical linear layout, I could create an item that contains another layout that's a horizontal linear layout in which I might want to display some pictures horizontally across. A couple other types of layouts that we'll work with in our next project are table layouts. Much like creating a table in an HTML website, and we specify a number of rows and a number of columns, build those as we go, and then we can also have objects that span multiple columns, and our row heights can vary as well depending on the contents of the row. In our next project, we're also going to work with a linear layout that has a container of a scroll view, and that scroll view will contain card views. And each of those card views then can contain maybe an image and some text. And we might have more card views than displayed on screen, so the scroll view allows us to scroll through those items that are presented on the various cards. So our next project is we're going to create an app for a baseball team in Nashville called the Nashville Raccoons. It's a fictitious baseball team, but we're going to create an opening screen or opening menu that's a linear layout, and that's the one over here on the left. So in that linear layout, we're going to have a logo, we're going to have some text about the team, and then 4 buttons, and each of those buttons are going to navigate us to the other layouts in our project. So the first one takes us to a team roster, and here we're going to use a table layout to create this screen, and a return button that will take us back to our opening menu. The opening day lineup takes us to a linear layout where we're going to use a scroll view that presents cards or card views of each of the players for opening day lineup. Again, a return button that will take us back to the main menu, and then a button for the stadium. And here we're just going to use a constraint layout. So we're going to demonstrate that we can use multiple layouts within the same project. So linear, table, constraint takes us, a return button takes us back, and then a button that takes us to the mascot, Ronnie the raccoon. And here we're going to use a linear layout, but you'll see how these are very much the same thing between the constraint layout and the linear layout. Sometimes it's a matter of personal choice as to which layout we might want to use. Let's take a look at this project running so you can get a little better feel for it in a little bit larger view. Here's our project running in an emulator. We have the opening menu layout, which is a linear layout, and at the top of that we have a graphic that will provide for the Nashville Raccoons logo, some information about the Nashville Raccoons. The Nashville Raccoons are the newest team in Major League Baseball, having played their first game on April 30th, 2025. So yes, we're looking to the future. They are part of the National League East Division. The Raccoons are owned by a group of investors led by mobile app developers Stephen Hustedde and Christopher Stevens, and the team is managed by Tyler Gillum, formerly of the Savannah Bananas. And in case you're wondering, the Savannah Bananas are a real team, a summer league team of college players, and they are managed by South Mountain's faculty member Tyler Gillum. I'm going to click the team roster button, and here we see a list of players on the roster. This is just a shortened list. Obviously we'd have a much longer list, but just give you a feel for how to work with the table layout. That's our goal here. Return button takes us back. Opening day lineup. And here we're going to use a scroll view presenting cards. So we have card views, and each card view has probably eventually be the image of the player's face. For now, we're just going to use the raccoon logo. Again, return button takes us back to the menu. Here's Johnny Cash Stadium, which is done as a constraint layout. And Ronnie Raccoon, our mascot, picture of him, very similar to the stadium screen, but here we're using a linear layout. So that's our project. Over the next several videos, I'm going to help you lay this out and walk you through step by step of working with these various layouts. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the Android App Development Cohort playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos that I create, you can click my picture up in the top right and subscribe to the channel.